Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the college football edition of Proline. In fact, I'm glad it's college football. I really don't want to talk about NFL after some of those games on Sunday. We had a safety. We had drop passes. We had
terrible coaching,
sloppy plays. We had a 4th and 37, if you remember that. I mean, have you guys ever seen such bad NFL Sunday in history?
Well, you can't get any worse than the Chicago Bears on Sunday night. And I had a very frustrating Saturday. Auburn didn't show up for some inexplicable reason, and I had 2 terrible bad beats with Michigan and LSU. But my 3-pack, I won 2 out of 3 in the 3-pack on Saturday. And on NFL on Sunday, I came back with a 20-star winner with the Broncos, and I had the Packers Sunday night. I didn't have to worry about a bad beat in that Packers game.
There was after the first quarter, there was no way.
I wish they were all that easy.
What was the halftime? 42-0 or something like that?
Yeah, the first first score I saw was, I think it was 42-0. But
George Halas got to be turning over in his grave right about now.
I'll tell you.
And Sean, what was the thing about the big dogs? Historically, they do.
Well, yeah, I mean, usually, at this time of the year, you want to take at least a look at them. These teams are wearing down a little bit, and there's some injuries and stuff, but none of the big dogs, right? Tennessee, no. The Raiders, no. And Jacksonville, who's terrible, no. I mean, and I think we already mentioned the Bears. That wasn't a big dog, but it should have been. It wasn't big enough. 35-point teaser wouldn't have saved anything on that. Even in the first half, it was just bad.
I'm not offering those this week.
There's been no value with the dogs recently in the NFL. There just hasn't been, especially the big guys. So I don't know what that's all about.
We got a couple of key college football games coming up this weekend. First of all, we got let's tell you what we have going on. Jeff, Blockbuster has been on a terrific run. Plus, you have your top total of the entire season, too.
Yeah, my NFL total of the year, plus I have another Blockbuster this weekend. And also I have another 3-game college football package, and NBA still going strong. You can just go to jimfeist.com for those plays. Also, you get 2 weeks of 5-star winners in all sports. We got NBA, college basketball starts on a Friday. We have NFL, college football. 2 weeks, $10. Call LVSS personal service 1-866-575-8916. That's 1-866-575-8916.
All right, and Jim Feist, college dog of the year with UTEP, got a win or a push on that one on Saturday. Plus, we've been telling you about these high roller online plays. Jim has been putting out now 5 consecutive wins after the Arizona Cardinals won big late on Sunday, 31-14. Another one is available on Sunday at jimfeist.com, along with a Saturday college rivalry game of the year. Okay, let's get into a couple of big college football games on Saturday. We're going to start with the big one, Mississippi State at Alabama. The opening number here, Bama home, after playing 4 of 5 on the road, a 7-point favorite. It's quite a showdown. Ole Miss, Mississippi State is undefeated. Meanwhile, Bama's 5-1 in that SEC West. So much is at stake in addition to the national rankings. The home team is 4-0 against the spread when these teams meet, plus 12-2-1 under the total. Mississippi State, they were supposed to be really good with 8 starters back on offense, 9 on defense, and they've been better than advertised. They can run, they can pass. Their defense is 16th in the country in scoring points allowed. However, they have not done a lot of winning or covering against Bama. They lost 20-7 last year. The previous 3 years, they lost 38-7, 24-7, and 30-10. So, Sean, here they are with their biggest game of the year. Are they ready to handle it?
Well, I don't know if it's the biggest game of the year. How about the biggest game maybe ever in this program, which probably goes back, to 1920 or so for Mississippi State. This is not a team that's been in national prominence ever that I can remember, and I've been in this business over 55 years. First of all, Alabama is the home team. It's a 7-point favorite against Mississippi State. Mississippi State is the #1 team in the country. This is an SEC West divisional game, maybe the best division in the entire country as far as college football goes. Now, how about look at the weather? And I always look at the weather this time of the year. It's mostly sunny, be about 48 degrees at game time. There might be some showers later on, maybe after the halftime, but they're not calling for anything really drastic. How about Mississippi State getting no ink? Nobody's talking about this team. The #1 team. When was the last time? And I can't remember, and I'd have to go to Jeff. He seems to remember stuff better than I do. The last time, this time of the year, which we're in about the 11th week of college football, a #1 team getting 7 points, even though it's on the road. I can't recall that ever happening. So here's Mississippi State. They're 9-0 straight up. They're 5-3-1 against the spread. They are 5-0 in divisional play, which is the big key thing here. But they have not covered a game in 4 weeks. They played last week against, was it Tennessee Martin? They were like a 42.5-point favorite. Never came close to even covering that game. But they do win it. I'm sure they were looking forward to this game. But they are 2-0-1 against the number on the road, but they haven't been on the road in a while. Mississippi State has not defeated Alabama since 2007, and they haven't covered a game in Tuscaloosa in the last 3 times that they've been there. So they got a lot, they got a lot of work ahead of them. The Mississippi State the offense goes through that one quarterback. Dak Prescott, I believe is his name. 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not a great set of numbers, but we're talking about an SEC team, and he's been very good. I think this team goes as he goes. He's got to play well. A win here just about guarantees the title game for Mississippi State and a shot at the Big Four. They lose here. Now they got to go with tiebreakers because they have to play in the Egg Bowl at Mississippi, and right now as we speak, Mississippi State is a 2-point road dog. That game will be in Oxford against Ole Miss, whereas Alabama is a home favorite of 7 against Auburn. So if Mississippi State loses, the only shot they have at a title shot, at least in the SEC, to get to the big game, would be that Auburn would have to beat Alabama because Mississippi State does have the tiebreaker against that team, and then they would have to also beat Mississippi, and that would get them to the title game. And in my opinion, Jeff, I think whoever comes out of the West will win that title game. I mean, I don't know about a blowout or something like that, but I think there are at least 4 teams, in my opinion, in the SEC West Division that are better, than the East. What do you do with this game? Alabama's 7. I mean, look what happened last week, and they're coming. Alabama's coming off. What a lucky cover, in my opinion, that was. Some bad coaching, really bad coaching by Les Miles in the LSU game, and I can talk all day about what I think of Les Miles in that particular game and what he did in overtime with the coin toss thing. And then the quarterback. Jeff, all he has to do is run. You and me could have run for that first down.
Tell me about
it. He throws up a Hail Mary brick that has no chance in the end zone. He's got nothing but clear sailing ahead that either one of us, at least they got a fresh set of downs, they would have had a chance. But unfortunately, that's not the way it happened.
And you didn't have LSU on the money line.
No, I didn't get involved in that. But I'm going to wind it down here because everybody wants to talk about this game. I've been in this business over 55 years. There are 3 things that I've learned. You don't handicap the weather, impossible. You can't handicap women, good luck with that. And these type of games, and the LSU-Alabama game is a good illustration of it. These are high-powered marquee matchup games that everybody wants to talk about, but the fact is, unless you know which side the referees are taking, it's very difficult to call this kind of game. Look what happened last week with that Alabama-LSU game. Almost landed on the number, but not quite, and it went into overtime. I think you find more values in some of the smaller games that are out there. If I had to take a side, it's tough for me to turn down the number 1 team getting 7 points. That's awful tough for me to do that. So it would be a lean to Mississippi State, but a very slight one. Jeff, what do you think?
I'm leaning to Mississippi State too, but just like you, it's probably not a big game to bet. It's just too tough to pick this game. But the line's just perfect. It's a tremendous matchup, and Mississippi State has already won at LSU. The last time a visiting team has won at LSU and at Alabama in the same year was 1957. And
How do you do this? How do you find that?
It was in the newspaper.
Thanks a lot for embarrassing me.
And the team that did that in 1957 was Mississippi State.
Whoa, they're on a roll. Yeah. 1-0.
So this game will probably decide the SEC Western Division Championship. Last year the Tide won 20-7, and in 2012 Mississippi State came into this game 7-0. They got blown out 38-7, and they lost 4 of the last 5 games and finished 8-5. But the Bulldogs obviously are more experienced and more battle tested now. Alabama was handed a win at LSU. I know it's on the sour grapes, but that was a terrible game to lose. It's just absolutely ridiculous for LSU to blow that game. There's no excuse for letting a team go right down the field with less than a minute to go. We've seen it a lot with prevent defenses, but still, every time you see it, you just say this can't happen. They stopped them all game long. Why can't you stop them in the last minute when you know they're going to pass?
What was the LSU kicker thinking about when he kicked that? The only thing you cannot do is what he did, kick it out of bounds.
And I hate squib kicks.
I hate that. I hate that.
All they need is a field goal. You want to kick it as far. You want to kick it into the stands if you can do it. But
I agree.
But I agree. They keep doing it over and over again. While Mississippi State was cruising past Tennessee Martin, not cruising, but they pretty much had a fairly easy game compared to what but Alabama is coming off a tough overtime win, one they didn't deserve to win. Bulldogs are averaging 5.6 yards per carry while allowing only 3.6. Prescott's completing 61% of his passes, 18 TDs, 7 interceptions. Like Sean, it's hard to give up 7 points here with the team, number 1 team in the country, and a team that's playing one of the biggest games ever. if I had to choose, I would take the points of Mississippi State, John.
Okay, well, I want to take a look at the total. I mean, last week when we looked at that LSU-Bama game, you had two of the top four teams in the nation in points allowed matching up, so I was looking at the under. I'm going to do the same thing here because this Alabama team, as good as they are, they're at home here for the final 3 games of the season, so they got a lot in their favor after getting that lucky win against LSU on Saturday. However, they haven't been covering numbers, 3-9-1 against the spread. Are a very good under team in the month of November, 18-8-1 under the total. Here they are at home. They're going to bring a terrific defensive effort. And this Mississippi State team is number 16th in the nation in points allowed. And last year's game was 20-7. And don't put too much stock in that because the quarterback, Dakota Prescott, he got hurt and didn't play in the game. And even the backup quarterback for the Bulldogs didn't play. But overall, it was a fierce physical defensive game. And I think this game is going to be defensive as well. Maybe a 20-17 or 23-17 kind of game. So I will look at the under in this one.